For 50 years, one car has defined the premium sports sedan market. It's been a benchmark, an icon, and the very definition of sheer driving pleasure.
And from the racetracks to the road, over the years it has spanned 7 generations, each one telling a different story.
Of course, it's the BMW 3 Series. There's no mistaking it. And some of you will know it better as the ultimate driving machine. Come join us as we take a look through the pages of history with these cars.
1975 was a big year. The Vietnam conflict had just finished. Muldoon had come into power in New Zealand. Ali was having a thriller in Manila, and we were all kung fu fighting when we were listening to our records. Remember records? And oddly, we were driving around in Morris Marinas. Oh, a thought. But more importantly, 1975 was when BMW released their 3 Series, a nameplate that went on, or has gone on, to be their bestseller ever. Unveiled at the Munich Olympic Stadium, the E21 is the natural successor to the 2002. Designed by Paul Bracq, it came with a shark nose, a power dome, and the legendary Hofmeister kink at the back.
In terms of models, the E21 came as either a 2-door sedan or a convertible. Both prioritised handling and sportiness. Inside, the sharply angled dashboard set a new standard for driver-centric cars. With 1.36 million units sold, the E21 defined the sporty sedan of its era. So much so that in a survey, 80% of its owners said there was nothing BMW could do to improve the car. But they did.
The early 80s were my formative years, so E.T. was phoning home, Marty McFly was going back to the future, and let's not forget about English or basically British music. So you had ska, you had punk rock, and you also had synthesizers. So Don't You Want Me Baby is pretty much in my head. And don't we want something like this? The E30 was a massive hit. Design-wise was more straight up and down, but also just came with more multiple driving shapes and styles, and also the unveiling or the addition of the M3, which added more power and also entry into the German motorsport area. So your touring car championships, a ton going on. And the good thing about it, when it came to styling, we were rolling up our sleeves and also had big shoulder pads, which is pretty much what the M3 used to have as far as wide body kits as well.
Now, speaking of bodies, more significantly, the E30 was the first to introduce 4-door sedans and touring shapes, and significantly, series standard quad headlights. Speaking of quad, the E30 also came with optional all-wheel drive, and BMW introduced ABS. 1983 saw the debut of the M3, a homologated special that excelled on the racetrack in the same way as the generation excelled in the sales charts, boasting nearly 1 million more unit sales than the E21.
So fast forward to 1990s, and this is right up my alley. This is just around my birth year. Germany had just put down the Berlin Wall. The digital era has absolutely begun. You might even hear the dial-up sound in the background. And then BMW comes out with the E36. And keeping up with the digital era, BMW really leveraged the computer-aided design for the E36. And this allowed them to really double down on safety. One of the big ways that you can see this here at the front is that the headlights are now moved behind a single pane of glass. This, of course, also made the car way more aerodynamic than before, and it also allowed BMW to offer almost 40 different body style combinations and trim levels that you could get worldwide.
Available in sedan, coupe,
convertible, wagon and hatchback forms, there was an E36 for everyone. It brought many innovations, such as a multi-link rear suspension and VANOS, BMW's proprietary valve timing system. It was a big step up in refinement compared to the E30 and is, to this date, many an enthusiast's top choice. As for the M3, this time it was more road-friendly and was also the first one to feature a 6-cylinder engine, the S52, which crossed the 300 horsepower mark for the very first time. And now the year's 1997, and it's full of hits. Titanic has hit the screens, Harry Potter has hit the shelves, and BMW came out with the E46, which is to date the best-selling 3 Series with 3.3 million units sold. That is because it improved on the formula of the E46 of mixing luxury with driver engagement. Focusing on features like a premium sound system, automatic climate control, cruise control, it still managed to bring much more modern engines, aluminum suspension components, and introduce xDrive. The E46 M3 represented an interruption in offering the sedan body, but pushed boundaries mechanically with its 8,000 RPM raspy-sounding S54 and the optional SMG automated manual gearbox.
And now we step into this century with this, the 5th generation E90 3 Series, which was launched in 2005, coincidentally the year that the very first video was ever uploaded to YouTube, something that's acquired a cult following of its own, like this 3 Series, which was the first 3 to win the coveted World Car of the Year award, and was also the first and only 3 to have a V8 powered M3. This E90, well, it becomes even more special because this included the very first iteration of iDrive, which at the time was only sort of buttons and dials and a little screen, and how far it's come since then. It was also the first BMW, the first 3 Series to have their efficient dynamics technology, which really took that engine powertrain efficiency into this new era, this new century.
This was made possible thanks to automatic start-stop and brake energy regeneration. There were also significant leaps forward made in safety technology and the diesel powertrains. It continued on the success from the previous generation E46 with more than 3 million units sold once again.
So it's now 2012 and well, some people thought the world was coming to an end. It apparently didn't, but just in case, BMW had this up their sleeve, the 6th generation F30 3 Series. This was the first generation where you had a bit of a departure between the sedan, touring and the GT, which all remained as 3 Series, and the 4 Series, which was essentially a 3 Series coupe and convertible. It was also the first generation of 3 where every single car across the range had the twin power or turbocharged engine, and it was also the first to introduce BMW's active hybrid technology.
And technology was indeed the name of the game for this generation of the 3 Series. It was the first time that the car included heads-up display, real-time traffic information, hands-free tailgate, and emergency calling along with automatic vehicle location. But despite all of this and a growth in size, it still remained true to its roots with a 50-50 weight distribution for ultimate driving pleasure.
And that brings us on to today, the 7th generation G20, or in fact, G21.
Introduced in 2019, just in time for COVID, it is longer and wider, but lighter than the previous generation, and it is the 3 Series for the modern era.
That's right, it is the most technologically advanced 3 Series to date, and it could well be on its way to becoming the best-selling 3 Series of all time.
This generation also features a greater use of aluminium, improved aerodynamics, semi-autonomous driving and adaptive voice gesture controls including, "Hey, BMW."
And they offered all of this while using less. fewer CO2 emissions, more planet-friendly materials with production to destruction mentality, and the first touring model available as a plug-in hybrid, the 330e, that had up to 65 kilometers of electric range.
And as always, there was so much more fun with this generation of the M3 being the first to offer a touring body style, as well as BMW's all-wheel drive xDrive technology.
Throughout its history, the BMW 3 Series has shaped the landscape of sporty, premium, mid-sized vehicles, balancing agility, functionality and safety.
Achieving continual improvements in handling through lighter materials, innovative chassis technology, and precision engineering.
Each model stands out for a distinctive sporty design, making it appealing to all age groups and lifestyles.
Wow, 50 years from E21 to G21. It's been an incredible ride.
What is your favorite generation of the BMW 3 Series?
Over to you, the ultimate commenting machine. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.